Hi folks, in this video I'm going to give you a little introduction to how we can use TinkerCAD to make a 3D model of our blockbot. So once you've logged into TinkerCAD, it takes you to where your designs are. So I'm going to go right ahead and click on Create New Design. Okay, so this opens up my 3D drawing window. We can see our work plane now. I want you to think of the work plane as the surface that you're modeling on. Okay, and we can change the work plane so that we can get objects in different places. Hopefully you learned that in the unicorn video. Just a couple of reminders. Remember, you can right click and drag with the mouse to rotate the view so you can see your object from different directions. You can also use this little view cube up here. You can click and drag that, or you can click on the predefined views so you can see your object from different directions. We've got some other buttons here that change the view, whether we're looking at it 2D, 3D, zooming in, zooming out. We can zoom in on a particular object. So we'll have a look at those as we go through. So I'm just going to position that back around. So I'm looking at the top and two sides of my object there. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to show you how to draw the body of your blockbot. So we're going to use the box over here. We're going to click and drag that onto our work plane. Just put it anywhere towards the middle. It doesn't matter where you put it. Okay, then we're going to size this, and we're going to use these little handles around the outside of the object to size it. This one at the top here is going to give us the height of the body, and in there I am going to type 75 because I want the body to be 75 millimeters high. This is going to be the side of the blockbot that's got the face on it, and I want that to be 45 millimeters wide, and I want the body to be 30 millimeters deep. So I'm going to click on there and I'm going to make that 30. So you can now see I've got the body of my blockbot, and that is 75 millimeters high. It is 30 millimeters deep, and it is 45 millimeters wide. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to make a hole in the top. Remember, the head of the blockbot and the body of the blockbot are connected by a piece of dowel, and that piece of dowel goes down inside the body and up inside the head so that it's nice and secure. So I'm going to show you how to make that hole. Okay, the first thing I need to do is I need to move my work plane from the bottom of the body to the top of the body. So I'm going to click on the work plane and going to drag that in so it is on the top of the body of my blockbot. Okay, so now when I draw, I'm drawing on the top of the blockbot. Okay, I'm going to click on the top view, so I'm looking straight down on the top. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cylinder hole tool. The cylinder hole tool. So I'm going to click and drag that in, and I'm going to drag that on top there. Don't worry at the moment about getting it exactly in the right place. We will do that in a moment. Okay, so you can see then I have put that on top like that. Okay, I'm going to use these handles again to change the size. So I'm going to click on there, and I want this to be 8 millimeters by 8 millimeters. So the dowel is 8 millimeters in diameter. You can see that it's moved, which is why we didn't bother placing it accurately in the first place. So I'm just going to drag that back towards the middle. I'm not worrying about placing it exactly. We will do in a moment. Okay. Now, in terms of height, what I'm going to do is I am going to have 10 millimeters going up into the head, 10 millimeters going down into the body, and a 10 millimeter piece between the two. So in total, that's 3 lots of 10, that's 30 millimeters. So I want the height of this to be 30 millimeters. Okay, there we go. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to put it down inside the body 10 millimeters. So you see this little cone on the top? I'm going to click and drag that, and I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go down until it tells me I've gone down 10 millimeters, just there. Okay, so what that's telling me is now that 10 millimeters of that cone, that cylinder, goes down inside the blockbot's body. Okay, now what I'm going to do is make sure it's positioned in the middle. Okay, to do this, I'm going to use the Align tool. I'm going to click and drag that red box over both parts. Okay, I'm then going to go up here and click on the Align tool. Okay, I'm then going to click on this handle here, which will align them in the center along that axis, and I'm going to click on this one here, which will align it in the center on that axis. If I now click on the top, you will see that that is in the middle. Okay, just going to click that. So we're looking, there we go, a two-dimensional view, flat view, looking straight down on the top. We can now see that that is in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to leave that there for the moment. I'm not going to make it a hole yet, because I am going to put the head on, and then I am going to make the hole in the head and the body at the same time. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to learn is how to add the head. Okay, here we go. I'm going to first of all click on the Align tool again to get rid of those handles for aligning those two parts. The work plane is set at the top of the block body. I am going to do the same work plane. Okay, so then I'm going to do exactly the same as I did to draw the body. All right, I'm going to click in the box. I'm going to place it onto that work plane. Don't worry about aligning it yet, because we've got to resize it. I'm going to change the width of that to 45, the same as we did for the body. And I'm going to change the depth of that to 30. Oops, sorry. The same as we did for the body. And I want the height of that to be 40. So there is the blockbot head. And you can see that it's not aligned. All right, if you look at it from some angles, it looks like it's aligned, but if I look at it from the side, I can see that that is not aligned. And if I look at it from the front, I can see that that is not aligned. Okay, so I'm just going to correct that. I'm going to use the arrow keys just to nudge it in the right place. So I'm going to use my view cube. I'm going to look at it from the front. I'm going to click on the head. I'm just going to nudge that over using the arrow keys until they are lined up. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it from the side. So I'm going to click on the right view, and then I'm going to click on the head, and I'm going to use the arrow key just to nudge that across until it's lined up. Okay, so you can now see that that's lined up. Now you remember I said before we wanted a 10 millimeter gap between the head and the body. So I'm going to click on the head. I'm going to grab hold of the little cone at the top, and I'm going to click and drag. Okay, and I'm going to drag until that says 10 millimeters. There it is. Okay, so you can now see our head, our body, and that hole that we made in the middle. Okay, the hole that we made in the middle. Now I'm going to show you how we actually make that into a hole that goes into the body and into the head. Really, really easy. You're going to click and drag the red box over all three parts that you've drawn, and you're then going to group them using the group button up here. And now what you will see is that there is a hole in the head and a hole in the body, and that is where the dowel would go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the hole in the side of the body for the arms and the legs. So first thing I need to do is I need to click my work plane button over here, and I'm going to drag that onto the side of the body. I am now drawing on the side of the body there. I'm now going to use my cylinder hole tool, and I'm going to position my cylinder on there. I'm going to look at the right side there. So I'm looking straight down on top of that. I'm going to change the size of that. And again, we're going to do 8 millimeters by 8 millimeters. Okay. So remember how we aligned that before? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag over the hole that I'm putting in and the body. Okay, I'm going to use the align tool up here, and I want to align that on the center of the body, and that's there. Okay, what you can also do then is when you click on that, using the arrow keys, you can move that. I'm going to turn the align tool off again for a moment. You can align that up or down. Sorry, just select the hole. You can align that up or down to where you think it needs to be. Okay, where you think it needs to be. And I think that looks about right. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is I need to make that go all the way through the body. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the length of it. I know my body is 45 millimeters wide. Okay, I'm going to make this bigger than that so that I've got plenty to go through and stick out the other side. I'm going to make it 60 millimeters. Okay, and then I'm going to use the cone here at the end, and I'm going to grab that and I'm going to push that hole all the way through, and you can see it coming out the other side. I want it sticking out both sides. Okay. Now, I also know that I want one of these holes towards the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do that at the same time. So what I'm going to do is, with that part selected, I'm going to do Control and D on the keyboard, and that has now duplicated that. It's made 2 of them. You can't see it because it's directly on top of the one that was there. So when I go to my right view, I'm now going to use the arrow key and I'm going to start moving it down. And you can see there that I have both of those, the one that I originally put in and the duplicate. And I'm going to put that towards the bottom, not too close, but not too far up. Okay, so you can see then that we've got those holes ready to go all the way through. Okay, now we need to turn them into a hole. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag over the body and the 2 holes that I want, and then I'm going to click the group button again. And you will see then what that has done is it has made a hole that goes all the way through the block bot and comes out on the other side. Okay, so we've got our block bot now with the hole in the head and the hole in the body, with a piece of dowel to join the head and the body together, and it's got the holes in the body ready for the string to go through that will attach the hands and feet. Have a go at doing that. See if you can get yours looking like mine.